Ready.
Live from the Robotics Garage, Science Park in Hong Kong. So yeah, this is a different panel in the Glimpse visualizer. And I just selected some particular OpenSci internal variables to show. So arousal is the light blue one that's on top. Positive valence is black. Negative valence is green. And power, which is an SEC, is orange.
So that shows he's not plugged in.
Well, his power is like maybe 0.6 actually.
Okay.
So he's plugged in and getting a good amount of power.
It's getting higher and higher.
Yeah, the arousal is getting.
So he's excited. She's excited about our conversation. So yeah, arousal's connected to an ultradian rhythm, which an ultradian rhythm is a natural biological rhythm that's slower than a circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm would be 24 hours. So an ultradian rhythm is something, what? Faster, yeah.
Ultradian rhythm, like up and down every 90 minutes or something.
I think it's not. I think they're different ranges. It's just at least the definition I saw was just that it's significantly shorter than.
Yeah. When I studied it, we studied the nostril breathing cycle once. It was about every 90 minutes. People switch from one nostril to the other throughout the day.
You can switch nostrils?
Yeah, people at any time of day, most people are dominantly breathing through left or right nostril. And that cycle seemed to be around 90 minutes long.
We definitely should have that in OpenSci.
So yeah.
I think negative valence.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, if you
have that muscle.
Well, I have the unique talent that I can shut one or the other nostril at any time by control of my nose.
You can just flare them. I can't either.
If you do alternate nostril breathing, it puts you in a kind of peaceful state of mind.
Say you have a sun breath.
Yeah, that's right. But you need to train yourself to do it without your fingers.
Yeah, I can't yet.
Cool. So that's it. Thanks for coming, guys. So now I'm gonna simulate an event, a speech starting, and there's a rule that when a speech starts, her sense of power goes up. So
I'm powerful.
Power is orange, and you can see it went up. There's also a rule that when she's feeling powerful, negative valence went down, which is the green, because it helps her feel a little better. If she's feeling upset and she's feeling more powerful, it ameliorates that. And then what was it? Something else went down. Oh, voice.
Arousal dropped.
Yeah.
The voice width went up.
I'm not sure why arousal dropped. Voice width. Voice width. So it's a dynamic system, right? So there's a bunch of rules that I was adding rules as I'm sitting there, but tweaking. Voice width went up because power went up. So if you're feeling powerful, and voice width. Ben, I think you mentioned voice width once, and I just took it, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but the way I'm thinking of it is kind of like, we talked about this a little bit, but a broader voice would be kind of deeper.
Expressiveness of your voice.
Yeah, and if the width is more narrow, I almost think of it like your larynx kind of tightening up, and so if arousal goes up, voice width goes down.
That was like the frequency spectrum. Is most of the amplitude concentrated in a narrow frequency band, or is the amplitude more broadly spread across many frequencies?
Cool.
I thought.
So
Dave would know, but all right. What's the definition of voice width?
Actually, he asked me yesterday. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was like the entropy across frequencies of the amplitude or something.
So I'm going to do some negative dialogue. Spin detected speaker said something negative.
Fuck you, robot.
So negative valence goes up, positive valence goes down, voice width went down. Because I think I'm not sure why voice width went down. But there's some formula in there that caused that dynamic to happen.
There's some rules from CPM that when you're feeling powerful, you have a a wider voice.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling
Yeah.
intimidated, your voice gets narrower. So that was like someone said, "Fuck you, robot."
Yeah.
Then it started to feel fearful. And it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, oh no!" So its voice got narrower.
Yeah.
So
What
this
about
is like
angry?
rapidly
Your voice
emotion
tightens
of
up and goes
angry.
higher.
Yeah. So you the emotional response. So the idea we had here, putting together Ralph's visualizer with the big circles with this. The idea I had is like you have the robot you're talking to. Then on one screen, you can see which concepts are most important in its mind popping up in those circles. On another screen, you see like the ups and downs of its emotions as you're talking to it. So it's sort of indicators of the concepts and the feelings of the robot changing over time.
Yeah, and so then if you have those that were bound to, that were linked to valence or emotion types or something, then you could imagine that those would just sort of fade up, right?
Yeah.
So and then you could have a threshold that just sort of says like only show stuff when it's above this.
So if you say "I love you, robot," then ideally, in the screen that Ralph and Miskana made, you'd see the big circle for love there, right? And the word love in it, and then here you would see positive valence pop up on that screen around the same time as the word love in the circle came up on the other screen, and then you're seeing the concepts and the emotions, and then the robot smiles, and you see the actual behavior corresponding to it. So that's something I would like to show at this internal dog and pony show on the 20th that David wants us to show. Yeah, the whole show exhibit, because that sort of shows what's going on inside the robot as inside its mind, as correlated with the behaviors.
Cool. So this was a loud noise. Negative valence spikes up. Arousal spikes up. I'll do. Actually, I guess I need to bring arousal down first. Arousal. This is.
Very upset.
This is a new face
Mean
entering.
Curious.
Is detected. Arousal goes up. Positive valence goes up. Let's have it detect. It's very upset. So let's do negative dialogue. Or no, I'm sorry, positive dialogue. Maybe help it feel a little better. We don't want it so upset.
Pretty robot.
Eddie, what are you typing when you enable this behavior, these emotions?
Yeah.
Exactly, because I see you typing.
What are you talking about? I'm just browsing. I'm doing some shopping. So yeah, I'm simulating events that would be detected through ROS messages, basically.
So that's a scheme shell or what?
It's a scheme shell. So
Okay,
I don't
so
have the whole head stack running
You're
because
running some scheme
have
function
problem.
that simulates some event.
yes, exactly. So normally there would be a ROS message that would result in the event being represented in the atom space, and then this the OpenCog code detects when new events occurred from the atom space.
So you mean that you do have the OpenCog code running, and you're sending mock events to
Yes,
it, and
exactly.
What we see is really the OpenCog code.
So I'm putting a positive dialogue occurred at
Alright.
timestamp
Well, so
into the atom space.
you're triggering the OpenCog rules directly? Is it like that, or?
Yeah, well, it's through, there's some callback functions for events. I mean, that's one issue I'd like to.
No, I mean it's not that
maybe.
the scheme function simulates some event happening.
Yeah.
And then the psi rule responds to that event.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he's activating atoms that that trigger the context
That
of the
represent-
psi rule, and then the psi rule
represents.
fires. So the psi dynamics module is actually running. It's just because he's not running head.
Mhm.
He's using scheme to simulate the outcome of the ROS messages that head would be sending.
Yes.
These
I'm putting events into the atom space.
and these values that we
And,
see
well,
there,
it's actually a little different for each one. Go
they're
ahead.
being fetched via the REST API via schema.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's hitting, it's hitting the REST API pretty hard, multiple times a second. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue.
You mean for the graph? Yeah. Yeah.
Right, in order to update it.
Maybe later I can look at some of that stuff so I can
Sure.
incorporate it, because I would like to have some real OpenPSI values for the
Yeah.
visualization for
Yeah.
kind of making
Yeah,
it
yeah.
look nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually the change functions, this might be more detailed than you need, but the change functions are based on the value of the variable being changed. So if arousal is very low and something causes arousal to change, the change in arousal will be much greater when it's lower than if it's very high. If it's already at like 0.85, it might just bump it from 0.85 to 0.9. So yeah, I think
So
I
did
should.
you end up messing with the JavaScript, or was that all HANA?
No, I did.
You did as well.
I did. Ralph, got kind of. She was stuck in a problem, and Ralph solved that
I
problem.
remember that. That was a while ago.
Yeah, and then I took it and got it working with the
Okay.
inside stuff. Yeah, there's a few more things now that would be great if she could do. So one of them is just like not having this graph application hitting the REST API until the panel is shown, because most of the time the visualizers.
Yeah. That's a problem of the internal structure of the glimpse thing. It should
Yeah.
be refactored a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah. Because
Yeah.
there's this one factory that connects to the REST API, and this pulls the data all the time, and then this one just subscribes to that. But you can refactor that out somehow.
This is hitting the REST API on its own. It's not using
How well
the
do
main,
you understand
the main
the
one, but it's
internals
just
of
that
Blend?
it's just that the
Yeah.
code is getting initialized right when
yeah,
that application
yeah.
opens
Okay, I see.
rather than
Yeah.
So
So
that should be refactored into the factory and then started. And stuff.
Yeah.
maybe you should, if you take an hour and go over that with Natya while he's here.
Oh, yeah,
it'd be
sure.
useful, 'cause
Absolutely.
he doesn't know it that well, but he's going back and he can talk to the
Oh,
guys
yeah,
who
sure.
who built
Absolutely.
it.
So
Angular is tough.
yeah,
Angular is weird.
yeah,
It's a whole different thing.
right. Yeah, so I did this, but I was also trying to balance out like not wanting to spend a whole
Yeah, sure.
chunk of time learning Angular just to do it.
Yeah. Oh, you need some time. It's a different paradigm.
Yeah, so the event detection thing, maybe we can talk about this later, but, I'm, Linus is doing some event detection with his stuff.
Yeah.
Amen is doing some with the Psi rules.
Yeah.
I'm doing some with the internal OpenPSI, and I'm just wondering if there can be some kind of more centralized way to handle. It's basically the step of going from ROS to populating the atom space. Like maybe there should just be some centralized way of doing that and putting a timestamp on. So, for example, one of the
Wait, what? You don't need a centralized way to put a timestamp on, right?
well,
I mean, you just
some-
create a time link and then the timestamp should be
right.
fine.
So I could do it in my OpenPSI code, I guess, and then other people could depend on that and use it. But
I'm confused.
So-
Why does the OpenPSI is not what is receiving the event, right?
That exactly. So
So-
there's no standard. There's not currently that I'm aware of. There's no standard importing of ROS messages into the atom space.
Okay.
So rather than having everyone do their own thing.
So there's no obvious ways to translate them.
But there could be a standard
But
that
maybe
happens.
we should always run everything through the time server so that everything gets timestamped when it comes in, and then ask were there recent events of this type?
Well, if everything is, yeah, I mean, if an event comes into the atom space, it probably should be time-stamped. Yeah, and if it has a spatial location, it should go through the time-space map.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but
I mean, we haven't had usable time and space servers until recently.
Well, the time
You know,
server's
we
been
have,
around since 2001 or so.
Yeah. It's never usable.
Yeah. I think it was usable. It just wasn't used. Huh?
Well,
Yeah. The space map is new. But yeah.
It's just looking at, oh my God, that's power to the.
He hit,
Good
the remote,
attitude.
hit the remote control and it killed the robot.
It's dead.
Her soul is gone. In some other universe, she's flourishing. What would a standard way of importing ROS message into Atom space look like? Just some function that you always
you
call?
have to, I mean, a ROS
So it happens
message
up to
is,
the-
I mean, they can be arbitrary JSON type
Like out of the body.
structures.
Whoa. Yeah.
It's interleaved with characters, interleaved with numbers, interleaved with floats in arbitrary
Yeah.
ways.
Can you take one?
Structures
Take
out
on.
language independent format, right?
I mean, they have fixed message types. Every ROS message
Yeah.
declares what message type it
She's
is.
laughing now.
Right.
So you can generate the scheme.
Mm.
So what happens. Yeah, so what happens on the minor table. So.
Structure power.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why you're furrowing your eyebrows like that.
That's a
Just trying to understand.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's too much tickling. Cool.
Well, I mean, ROS is just sort of a generic
I-
messaging infrastructure.
No, I-
It's like any generic message.
I understand what ROS messages are like. What I'm trying to understand is what Eddie was trying to ask for. Like, what would a standard way of ingesting ROS messages into OpenCog look like?
I don't know why you'd want to have one, because somebody would have to sit down and say, this ROS message gets converted into this something.
Exactly. So, and it depends, it's gonna be different, it's gonna be different depending on the different messages. Rather than having each person have to figure out their own version of that.
But each
person does have to
but
figure
each
out their own
message
version,
type,
because there's no
each message
standardization.
type is translated into atoms differently, right?
And I would often like only pay attention to one field in some standard structure that existed in ROS, for
Yeah.
example.
I mean, maybe it's not possible to.
Well, it can't. I mean, in general, it can't be. Each ROS message type has a different semantics, right?
Sure.
And then you have to figure out how that maps into atoms. So that
Sure.
what you could have is, I mean, there could be some basic guideline, like any ROS message that comes in, we should make it we should enter
Well, I
it
mean,
in the
the-
time server, and if it pertains to a spatial location, we should put that in the time space map. So like those,
Well, I mean, the speech to text gives you a text string
yeah,
with blanks for word, in between words, and a single floating point value, which is like a truth value. It's a confidence of the STT output.
yeah,
But that is always set to 1 unless you're using the Google Voice, in which case it does get set to values other than 1.
yeah.
So it's a fraction of a truth value. But you wouldn't know that it's a fraction of a truth value. It's just some floating point number. It's some human has to look at it and say.
Yeah,
And then inside of OpenCog, what would we do with a string?
right.
So,
You need to do something with that
so
string before
let's
you
take
turn
like
it
a new
into
face
atoms.
as detected. Okay?
Yeah,
So, so you could put, should the new face be represented as a predicate, as a concept node, should it have a timestamp on it?
right. But the point is,
So
that's a decision to make for each ROS message type.
Yes, exactly.
Based on the content of that
so
message
for each,
type.
there are not that many ROS message types.
There's an infinite
But there-
number.
but there-
of-
but
no,
there are-
Eddie, there are
but
an
there
infinite
are.
number of ROS message
I mean, it's
types.
completely flexible. You can create new ROS
Well,
message
there's a
types.
standard set,
So-
sort of like the C built-in types or something,
Yeah.
and then you can make
So,
structures.
so either I can do a new face, enter a new face representation into the atom space and do it my way. Then Ahmed can do his way of doing it, and you can do your way of doing it. We can have these like 3 different ways of representing it in the atom space. And
Oh,
basically
do we have that now?
that's-
Do we have
that's what
multiple
we have
ways for
now.
the same message type? I don't. We do.
Yeah, that's, but
For what?
In what
For
case?
faces, there's only one way we do faces, and they're integers, and that's it.
So,
Nobody else
So
is
how-
touching
so how-
faces.
is there like new phase detected at a certain timestamp?
And location. It goes into the space map too. Yeah.
I don't understand, Eddie. Why do you have to care about ROS messages in the first place? Why can't you rely?
So here's how it came up. I don't remember if this is exact. So you have a side rule that says new face, based on the predicate new face detected.
Yeah.
And as part of that rule, the evaluation of new face turns it to false. So you're not getting new face, the same new face detected twice. So that predicate new face detected in OpenSci can only be used once. He's using it in his thing, but it can only be used once.
Well, that's misdesigned predicate, right? I mean, then the answer is how can we define, use the time and space server correctly so that you only get a new face that, that decays away after a few seconds.
So where is the code that converts the new face?
But that would be after the.
GitHub, ROS behavior scripting /source/faces.scm.
So maybe there already are standard ways.
Well, for each ROS message, for each ROS message
so
type, there's one way to do it.
Maybe
But
that's it, and maybe that was designed.
I think what you're pointing
The
out
way
is
faces,
that
it's a hack right now too. I mean, as you point out, that predicate
And it might
is
change,
busted.
and it
Well,
might not know it changes.
Well, Mandeep has already changed it, and that's why I was throwing a fit, because he changed it in ways that made it hard to.
Oh,
that made it hard
yesterday
to
I
do
see
these
it
other
with
things. I wanted to have
Mandeep.
faces. So I have to untangle all that code now.
well, that's why you're in a bad mood yesterday.
Mandeep.
Yeah, so maybe
But
maybe
I
it's
think
been done more
I think the problem there is not on the. It's not about ROS messages, though. That as you said, that's a predicate
Yeah, I need a
that
predicate
is not
case
designed
after a
in
few seconds,
a
so
good
it's not
way,
due anymore
right?
After a few seconds.
But in general, I mean, for each ROS message type in ROS behavior scripting, there should be one way to turn messages of that type into atoms, but that has to be figured out newly for each message type based on what it means, and there's not really a way around that, I
Right,
think.
but I'm just saying is that, do we want just kind of one centralized way to do that for each different type? Maybe
Well,
it
I mean,
is-
I think we need to have
Yeah.
a workable time server so that messages get time stamped. And when
that-
you say, I heard a loud sound recently, that you could have, say recently, i.e. in the last few seconds, I heard a
Right.
loud sound, and then after a few seconds, the same predicate would be
Right.
going to know.
I mean, another issue is for
But-
these
but that-
interaction
that-
rules, for every event, you want every rule to be, that is applicable to be fired, but you only want the rule to be fired once. So if the new face increases arousal for that particular new face, you only want that rule firing once. So this is kind of a question if I'm handling this the best way. The way I'm handling that is keeping basically a table of,
Well, this is now why I wanted to have OpenSci to do language processing, right? Because it's the same deal with language. Right? You hear a sentence, you want to run all the sentence processing rules once.
What's the most recent
You don't want
sentence?
to run
Yeah.
those rules over and over
Yeah.
again on the same sentence.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
So-
so there has
yeah.
to be a mechanism to say, okay, I ran through all of these rules on this sentence. I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. So I'm just
Stop
keeping,
processing.
the most recent, so I don't know if do the sentences have a timestamp on that?
Yeah, I think they do,
But it's so,
Yes.
so.
but
Yes.
it's not used.
They do.
Yeah,
They do, but there's,
They do, but it's not used much.
yeah.
the timestamps are.
So I'm just
Why
thinking
you
what was
send
the
it need a
timestamp on
timestamp?
the most recent events, and then if that,
So you can look at what sentences were said recently,
so new face happened at
what
time
words were
10,
mentioned recently, know what the
right?
current topic,
Triggers
recent
the rule,
topic
and
is.
then to detect another new phase, you kind of like win for most recent new phase, 10, 10, 10, and then if it's 20, okay, there's a new event.
Well, this is why I wanted to use OpenSci for processing sentences. I wanted to say, the goal is to process this sentence. The goal hasn't been met. Once you're done processing that sentence, that goal has been met. And so that was why I wanted
Yeah,
to
that is a conceptually sensible way to do it. Yeah, I mean the sentence is an event, and then
the
But I'm
goal
not
is
using
to
OpenSci
process the
rules
event.
to, that format. I'm not doing context and action advice.
For what?
For the interaction rules, for like power raises arousal.
Yeah, it's,
No.
it's more like an automatic,
Yeah. Right.
hidden process.
Mhm.
But I am
Yep.
doing like, if there's a new face, raise arousal.
Well, this is a useful conversation, but maybe you should this afternoon show Linus what you're doing, and maybe he can have a detailed comment on it.
Yeah.
Because that's
Because it might be that his code is the standard.
But there is no code, right? That's what I'm saying. It's, the way we handle timestamps is ad hoc, and it's all over the place.
Yeah, so that's basically
Strictly
my
done.
point, is like to have some kind of centralized
And another centralized way was the open. Was the open side. I wanted to be able to say goal process current sentence. Once it's processed, that demand dropped to 0, and then I never processed that sentence again. I just set a new goal for the next sentence.
that makes sense for that case.
But I
In
was not
your
able
case
to
is a little different
disentangle.
because his rules are just sort of implications, like arousal goes up, therefore happiness goes up, or something. So that's not really goal driven. These are just
Well, no, I mean I was using goals to make sure that my rules ran only once.
yeah. Right. Well, that's
And we don't have a good design.
he does want to make sure his
should be
rules
running
run only once, but his stuff isn't naturally tied to a goal. It's just you want to run this implication.
Well, no, my
over
goal
and
is to
over
run
again.
it once.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Once I've ran it once, the goal has been met. Right? The demand shrinks to 0.
I guess you could use that
Then you
architecture
delete
for
the goal
internal
even.
events as well as for external events. I mean, then the internal event is my arousal went up, and the consequence of that is that your happiness went up. I mean,
I'm happy because I understood your sentence.
yeah.
I'll throw that away and await
Sure.
the next sentence to come. And I'll be happy when I understand it.
Yeah.
What
So
if
in,
it's a bad insult?
in that case, the goal is to process the arousal stimulus, right? And then the result of that is that the happiness was boosted. Right? But
So is there a problem that some things are event driven and other things are like a time step driven? I'm just trying to figure out where the
We
problem
don't
comes
have
in.
an
What
event-driven.
causes you to repeatedly want to process some event and fire a rule more than once?
We have neither event-driven nor time-driven processes right now. It's purely ad hoc.
Okay, so
In OpenStack, there is time.
So basically there's-
time step.
the stuff Eddie is doing.
an engine that processes declarative rules.
Oh, well, actually, expression.
I mean, in practice, the stuff Linus is talking about is event driven. The stuff Eddie's talking about is time driven. Right?
What's event driven too? It is event driven. A change in one thing, the event would be a change.
Well, no, but the idea that the arousal updates the happiness or something like that's happening continuously, right?
There's a loop.
Yeah.
Time steps.
Right. So that's time driven. Whereas when a sentence comes in, you process it, and then that's what he's calling event driven.
Right.
So,
Which I have some event driven stuff too. Right?
You do, but I do think in the terms he was phrasing it, the sentence processing that
Well,
Linus is mentioning, you would call that event driven, and the idea that the arousal level as it changes updates
Yeah,
other
time
variables
driven.
like
Yeah.
happiness, that's what you would call time driven because it just
Yeah.
keeps cycling around. Right?
Yeah.
So, and the ECAN stuff that Mazgar talked about yesterday is time driven because that's the spreading just keeps on spreading over and over again, and you want to spread a certain amount each second. So we do have both of those, and we can handle both of those, but we don't have a particularly elegant general machinery for either of them. So we're dealing with both of those in ad hoc ways at the moment.
Need the ripple of consciousness?
Yeah. What's that?
The ripple of consciousness?
Yeah. But regarding this table you're talking about, it might be useful to show that to Linus and see if he has an alternate mechanism to suggest.
Yeah.
But that would be
Probably don't.
Yeah.
that would be a more in-depth discussion.
Sure.
All right, I'm hungry. Therefore, we can adjourn this meeting.
That's event driven.
That's event driven.
Because you're hungry.